Hi chat, how we doing tonight now that my microphone's finally working? Welcome in everyone. Hello, I am Chef JT. Tonight is ingredient challenge evening. So we're doing tomato soup tonight, canned tomato soup. But first we'll get started with some coffee. Hello Will. Welcome in JK. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope your week has been good. Catsup. They used that name before Heinz came in and standardized what we know ketchup is today. Hi, Tyrus. This is just a pour over coffee with some half and half and sugar. Nothing too exotic. Wow. How I start every stream these days. I shouldn't say these days anymore. It's been a majority of the time that I've been starting with coffee now. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope you have a good start to your week. Cheers. If you watched, you would have seen how little actual milk I put in. Well, so we're starting off with cake tonight. Almond milk? You mean nut juice? Hi, Cosmic. I need flour. Gonna need regular sugar, probably going to need even more regular sugar without the fan blowing on my microphone. We need buttermilk powder. That's corn grits. There's buttermilk powder. I'm sure a dozen other things that I've forgotten. Cocoa. We could actually use the soup that we're using tonight. Hi, Nan Reader. Wow, that was loud next to my mic. So we got flour. Let's see, yeah, we're gonna need more sugar. Let's see, are you gonna fit on this? No, just too small. I hate these bags, chat. I think these are one of the worst designed things on earth. These Ziploc, like halfway in the middle of the bag things, because it makes it easier and more reliable to ship, not because it's more convenient for the end user. It's a bag of cane sugar from Costco. Which I'm then pouring into this smaller container because it's both easier to pour out of and it's not a giant bag. That's good enough for now. Does mean I don't have to seal this up with a clip though. But it's harder to seal up with a clip if I wanted to. It's just not... Let go of my JL cup. House cup. So this is guitar cocoa. Baking soda, baking powder. There are many different variations on tonight's cake recipe. It's a Depression era recipe where they use tomato soup in a cake to replace fat or egg or either. This doesn't really get rid of them. Pinch of salt. We'll give this all a good mix up together. Break up all those cocoa clumps before we get the eggs and all that involved. The cocoa clumps don't want to unclump. Alright, I'm starting to aerate it enough that I'm just giving up. I just realized you're trying to do the scramble there, Terrace. You have to type !scramble in order for the bot to recognize you as attempting to figure it out. I'm not going to strain it. we're just going to move on. We're going to add our condensed tomato soup. About half a can. Just gonna eyeball it. Was shooting for a quarter cup there. Buttermilk powder. Half cup of water. Not trying to really work the flour, but we do need to somewhat incorporate everything loosely. A few lumps or bumps are okay. Let's see, we got everything in there. No, we need a touch of vanilla too. I should have remembered that. Yeah, I think it's on a 6-minute timer, including the time it takes to play. They're pretty quick. Oh, yes. Thank you, Cosmic. Now, there's versions of this, like I was saying, without the half cup of oil or without the egg that use tomato soup. I just thought I wouldn't do one of those. And that's supposed to rise quite a bit, which has got me worried about wanting to put it in the pan that I was thinking of. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Well, I can take it out of the freezer, but that's going to take a while to defrost. Have an extreme language knowledge. We have like scramble people that come in here and just get one after the other. Breaking out the emergency butter chat. Let's just leave them both there for now. And I think I'm going to trust this pan to be non-stick, even though the non-stick filling on this has been But for cheap supermarket pan, what should I expect? Pretty sure I bought that at like Safeway or Albertsons or something like that. Maybe it was Walmart. I always seem to make note of the weather when it's annoying and unpleasant. Weather's been great today. Like 72-ish. Like perfect, like go outside and chill, even though I haven't spent any time outside today really. So we got our oven preheating. I think our next step here is we need to make gravy. Yeah, I've been getting all sorts of alerts for storms and tornadoes and all that. I hope everyone's okay. I know fireworks and dogs don't really mix. Do tornado sirens and them not really do well either. I did learn just the other day, though, that apparently you can blind your dogs by welding near them. Because their eyes work enough the same to ours that welding's gonna screw up their eyes too. So don't weld around your dog. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of fish lately, but I'm still not a huge fish person. A little bit of a flash there. So we're melting butter so we can start our roux. I put the flour away. Darn it. I mean, I was done with it for the cake, but... You know what, I want to hold off on this for a minute. For a couple of minutes, rather. I'm gonna do a little garlic and onion into this gravy tonight. So we gotta chop a whole little onion and garlic in order to add them. That'll be enough just for gravy. Why you want to be difficult? Come on, garlic, just chop. Grab a red onion here and just get rid of the loose peel on the outside. I've talked quite a bit about how all the restaurants and all that, all the chain stuff have been doing all horribly and all that, and things like, you know, Subway has closed something like 600 restaurants this year. There are a couple of businesses that seem to be doing okay, though, that are sort of surprising. Like, I'm sort of surprised that it seems like Chili's is doing okay. Hey, Michael. What'd you get out of the dictionary of a menu they have? But speaking of Cheesecake Factory sort of partner in crime, the Chinese one, P.F. Chang's, they're doing not great. The only reason that Cheesecake can pull it off is they've downsized so much from the staff that they used to have. I mean, when, like, early 2000s, Cheesecake Factory manager got a company BMW on top of a six-figure salary. Which is insane considering probably just about everyone else in that kitchen ate. Alright, back over the stove here, turn the heat back on. I'm gonna add a touch of regular oil, or cooking oil, to our butter here just to reinforce its heat abilities. The worst part about it is they make a fair amount of their food in-house. They don't make their cheesecakes in-house. So you're going to the Cheesecake Factory that doesn't produce cheesecakes. I'm not really trying to bash on Cheesecake Factory. I've worked for a business that was very similar to theirs in concept. And boy, do they have a kitchen. But their whole marketing thing is blowing up too. Like, I don't know, I haven't paid attention to how well Cheesecake Factory has been doing post-COVID. I can't imagine they've been doing that hot, because they're in that segment of restaurants that are getting hurt the most. The ones that it's, social gatherings, that sort of a thing. And then you add on that, like, the amount of staff that they have to keep that menu, to keep all that stuff, when labor and staff is just getting incredibly expensive. Salt. Stove is up to temp, or the oven is up to temp, so let's throw our cake in the oven. I'm gonna cook down these onions quite a bit. And encounter that I think I've probably eaten in dessert in Cheesecake Factory just about every time I've gone there. I'm not big on dessert in restaurants, and like I've picked apart so many restaurant dessert dishes. Like, so many of them are just like, it's the first part that gets cut out of a kitchen. The staff for because it's such, like, it's almost a different world to restaurant cooking, and so you have to have people that actually pay attention to what they're doing, compared to squirt a little oil, flip, throw it out the window. Most places end up with like pre-made, pre-plated, or ready to just be put on a plate with some whipped cream and a drizzle of raspberry sauce. Like, even Cheesecake Factory is not making them in-house. Like, I get the financial part to it, but it drives me nuts that they still offer them. But I guess you're not going to get date night otherwise. I turned down a job at one point because they very obviously wanted like a dedicated pastry chef, and like, I was not what they wanted. But they were advertising for a normal chef, which is why initially it was a bed and breakfast. I noticed the next week afterward that they were advertising for a pastry chef. Set a timer so we don't forget that cake in there. Take a look at it in 30-ish minutes. But Michael, I don't know if I would necessarily trust that either, because a lot of the places that I would go to and have dessert are typically those really small restaurants where you've got a couple of people in the kitchen who are just all-stars that can handle all of it. It's just something that you can't trust to train kitchen as easily as you can to a factory. Cosmic just rocking the scramble tonight. Throw in the rest of that butter. Flour to make our roux. Water. Stock. Just chicken stock just to give flavor in there, but this is going to have the tomato, and I'm going to add a fair amount of beef bouillon into this, so this is going to be heavy. We'll add in our tomato soup to our gravy. See, it's listening again, chat. So now there's definitely some tomato in there. Worcestershire. Soy. Beef bouillon. And finally, if I still have it in here, I think that's it in the very back. Hopefully I didn't catch my shirt on fire doing that. Yes, the unmarked bottle back here. We're throwing a little bit of malt vinegar for acidity and to just amp that up a little bit. And this is going to thicken up as it comes to a boil from that roux. I am cheating tonight, chat. I'm making gravy because I'm making poutine. Go Canada. But I'm not making fries from scratch. I am, however, frying them. You're not going to work for that. We're just going to have to go with a pan. We'll have a pan ready, though. So I'm gonna start preheating oil on the left burner here. And turn the gravy down and just let that cook. It's already looking awfully glassy with all the tomato. It's adding a lot of gloss to it. I don't think we're going to use the other half of an onion. We can back that up for later. Won't be able to buy these for much longer. Some of the last Petaluma cheese. They just canceled a bunch of land area for cattle raising, and so several of the last holdouts are no longer making products. That's partly behind the inspiration of this, is because they're the only one that I knew of in the area that really sort of made curds, or at least sold them. This isn't looking very curd-like here, though. This is looking a little melted to me. Let's see if the other one's any better. We'll go with it. They're sort of curds still, but... Hey, Chat Devil. Tonight is ingredient challenge night. I've been challenged by my Discord to use canned tomato soup as an ingredient for dinner and dessert. And so in the oven, I have a tomato soup cake that is currently baking. And right now I'm breaking up what looks like sort of a melted block of cheese curds. And there is gravy on the stove, and there is oil heating up there for French fries. I'll let you all figure out the rest. Good morning. What are you, Australian? Cheese curds are sort of the loosely formed curds before you make an actual formed cheese. So they're a very basic form of cheese. They're very popular in Wisconsin, and they're They're not very easy to find, though, surprisingly. You sort of have to either have, like, a place nearby making them. They're more known for their texture and having an almost, like, squeak when you bite into them than being really a distinguishable, oh, this is a great cheese. And so the dish poutine that I'm making is a Canadian dish. I'm not in Canada, but is a Canadian-based dish of French fries, beef gravy, and cheese curds. And so I am making a tomato soup beef gravy for my poutine tonight. I sort of think of halloumi as being all over the place. I don't know. But yeah, not very, it's not like I was saying, it's not like, ooh, this is the cheese that you get for the flavor and distinctive, nut notes or... So chat, you're all showing up on Friday for the challenge on Friday, right? We're gonna have, I have them already set up, they're all set up over here already. We got 5 tins with 5 cans in each of them. Well, other than 2 of them. We're gonna hold a vote for each one of them. We're gonna tell chat what ones they didn't pick. And then we're going to open it up and find out ourselves together which ones you did pick. And I'll have to make dinner from them. Sorry, regulars, I know I'm hyping this one up a bit more than usual, but I want people here to vote. Let's see, what do we got going on in Discord tonight? Ooh, Pancakes running away with it. That was not the button I wanted. That's the button I wanted. Pancakes just running away with the vote for next week. But next week it's either instant mashed potatoes or pancakes. And if you want to have your own say, there's a channel right below it named Ingredient Suggestions where you can make your own. Oh, there's also this thing in the main chat. Dehy potatoes are amazing. I went through my 2 bags. It was probably 2 years ago. I bought 2 giant bags of potato dehydrator, and I didn't use it for mashed potatoes, but I went through it mostly putting it in bread. I do have a little bit of nostalgia for the... Like, I don't really like them, but I have a little nostalgia from them, mostly from the TV dinners as a kid. They always had those, like, powdery mashed potatoes. Well, they don't really sell TV dinners like they had when I was a kid either. I'm sure they still have a few of them out there, but the whole little, multi-segmented tray, nothing touches anything. I'm all about comfy here. Nostalgia's great, though. It's a big... It's likely the type of potato, too. Like, russets are not the greatest mashed potato, but they have a nostalgia for me, too, because that's what my grandparents used for their get-togethers for their potatoes. And so every once in a while, I'll pull out russets and use them in a mash, but Yukons are so much better. Making a salting station for my fries. And get the fine salt out for dusting them. It's one time I advocate fine salt. I don't even really like fine salt at the table. But putting it on fried foods as soon as they come out of the fryer, the kosher stuff is too big. It just bounces off. The fine stuff sticks. I've never gotten into using ricers, or I just used masher. I've got a food mill. I've never enjoyed really using food mill for that. I don't even really like using my food mill for tomatoes, which is really, but I don't know if it's just because my food mill sucks. Because I've worked food mills with tomatoes and them work very well. Got about 2.5 minutes here still on our cake until our first check on the cake. It's probably going to need another 5. I turned the flame down on the oil. We're in the neighborhood where we can turn that up and get ready to fry quick. How many people would have broken down and eaten cheese curd already? Look away, chat. That was not what I was expecting. You know how I said cheese curds typically don't have a ton of flavor and aren't very noticeable? That was delicious. Seeing how long that other brick of curds is going to last me. It says I've got a couple of months. That's sort of surprising. I guess it is vacuum packed. Ooh, that's right on the edge. We'll give it another 4 minutes. Just, maybe could have risked that one. Anyone out there grow savory? You might try it if you grow parsley. It's a little bit prettier. I'll take that as a no. We have cake. That doesn't look like tomato cake to me. Does look like a successful cake, though. So we'll let that rest off to the side. And we'll get to making some fries. Flame all the way back up on our oil, which is sitting at 280s. I'm making another potential faux pas in my poutine creation, other than using the tomato in the gravy. And that is, I'm going with waffle fries. Do we have any poutine purists in the chat tonight? I forget what the name of it is, but I know there's like a Poutine Crimes Reddit, something along that line. We're gonna have to break these up into, I think, 2 pours. Can turn the oven off since our cake's done cooking. It is going to settle a little bit. It's starting to get a little wrinkly. But that's to be expected for most cakes. Rarely do they keep that perfect taut skin. It's sort of like people, you know? After they fully bake, they quickly deflate. quickly rising in temperature. We're in the 330s. We want to be 350 plus for this. Maybe even 375-ish. What's this thingy say? Yeah, let's do 375. They don't have fryer instructions, so this may be a mistake throwing them in the fryer, but... but is the strawberry a berry or a fruit? Michael, I'm reading your presidential aspirations. I personally could care less about the Super Bowl and would probably completely ignore it as an official. I'd treat him better than inviting him to the White House and serving him McDonald's, though. Another 30 seconds and we'll get the fries going. Another 10 degrees. Alright, going in with our first fry, chat. Those are looking crispy-ish. Take a temp on our oil. We're going to give that a moment to warm back up. And give our gravy a try here. I want to add more beef to that. I want that super beefy, tomato beefy, even though there's chicken stock on there. See these okay? Those will do. Tasty fry. Not a whole lot interior. It's all crunch on the outside. None of the snowy interior. Less the fries going in. Almost there with the last one to completely float. Just a little touch more. You can do it. we're there. We're there. Heat off on the oil. Fine salt. It be dinner plating time, chat. Nice. More or less, right? All of it? I mean, the other cheese is getting eaten, don't get me wrong. That is one moist cake. Nice soft cake, but well cut through. And then our tomato soup, beef, onion, and chicken gravy going over our fries. I know it's going to happen. Where are we on our commercial break? Oh no, that's not what I wanted, Twitch. Sorry to the people I just sent to an ad unintentionally. It's a piece of green on top of my cake. It was not my intention. Yeah, I can live with that. It's delicious. That'll work. Curds are getting melty. That's a good example of getting melty. Hey chat, get in there. Did you get your piece? Good, okay. There it is. Let's try this cake, which is obviously all sorts of soft. You know, I can tell that it's there, but if I didn't know it was there, like if I had served that to someone else, they may pick up that there's something not quite, there's a little bit of a savoriness to the end of it. Otherwise, it's just delicious. This whole dinner turned out great. Like, I expected this to be awesome, but that's, you know, not rocket science. That turned out pretty amazing. But I do think we're going to have to call it a night there. Going to be back here on Friday. We're going to be making dinner from cans. I need you all in here to vote for cans. Figure out what I have to work with. Whether I'm going to be, you know, working with nacho cheese, or sliced mushrooms, or sliced carrots, or... I need you in here to help me. So please join me on Friday evening. I shall be back here on 4:30, at 4:30 as usual. And then we got more fun stuff coming up as always. I showed you in the Discord, we've got the vote going for next Wednesday. Looking like pancakes are going to win that one, but maybe we'll get instant mash. Alright. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you have an amazing finish to your week. Good night.